I'm going to discuss today another book. I'm not going to always be discussing books, but I found that this book was very interesting. And the name of the book is The Power of Zero. David McKnight. And David McKnight is going into the rumors of how the government treats us and how we're double and triple taxed when we retire. And the question is are we really prepared for retirement? And what he's going to discuss in this book is how we get to the 0% tax bracket once we get to the retired age. Because as you know, our income will and our ability to we won't be working, but it's a whole rumors going on around the whole thing about retirement, and we're being misled. And by reading this book, you're going to figure out how to get into a 0% tax bracket. Is it possible to not be tripled taxed when you withdraw your money from your 401k, and not to fall into the pitfalls of what we've been taught over all these years? So, I want you to come on back right now. That's what we're going to talk about on Unseen with Soon. Welcome back to Unseen with Soon. What we have here in this book called The Power of Zero, written by Mr. McKnight, he's basically saying that taxes have historically gone up. So when we've always been taught that 401ks are the best way to secure our retirement, IRA accounts, well, because of our country being in a deficit, we are now being faced with our taxes going up in the near future, and going up tremendously. So when our taxes go up, our government is going to go after the low-hanging fruit. And what's the low-hanging fruit? The low-hanging fruit is our 401ks and our IRA accounts. Because to be honest, when we take from our IRA accounts, there's a penalty. When we take from our 401ks, there's a penalty. Even when we become of the age to where we can withdraw from those benefits, we're taxed. To me, I'm pissed. I'm frightened and I'm pissed. And honestly, before I read this book, I did not think that there was any hope as an old man, so I would say, as an old man. But now that I've read this book, I know that there are some things that I can do to lessen the blow of the government taking and double and triple taxing my money that I've worked so hard for. I want to talk to you about, some of us think that, I have Social Security to back me up when I'm retired. Let me tell you about Social Security. Social Security's Act was passed in 1935. And at the time that it was passed, after World War II, when the soldiers came home, the ratio was for every 42 people that were putting into the Social Security system, one person was withdrawing from that. And so the Social Security Administration betted on that. But when after World War II came, when they came back home and they started having babies, they were like, okay, we're going to have just as many people working in the workforce when they start having babies again. Well, what ended up happening is they fell 32 million children short. So then it got to be that the ratio then became 3-to-1 today. So for every 3 people working, 1 person is withdrawing from the system. Now, the retirement age back at that time was 62. But the Social Security Administration did not look at Social Security as a form of taking care of someone that was retired. They used that as an insurance that they would be dying. So now we are stuck with the fact that with now people living longer, so now we're at the point where, I think I said this before, is that we're at the 3-to-1 working, and it's expected for every 2 people, 1 person will be withdrawing from the Social Security Fund. So the issues that we have with the 401ks and the IRA accounts are that they're designed so that you are severely taxed when you withdraw. There's a formula that they use. You divide, say for instance, you were going to take $100,000 out of your IRA account. This is when you're retired. And you would divide it by 30, thinking that, okay, I'm going to be subtracting $130,000 from my IRA account because that's what the tax is, right? Because our good old government tells us the truth, and our good old government has our back. But you're wrong. The government uses a totally different formula, and this formula is 0.7 divided by our $100,000 that we're going to withdraw from our account because we need that to live. That formula puts you it puts your account at a minus of $142,000. So you're $12,000 more than what you expected and down the drain. And what can you do about it? Because you're in this tax bracket. I would like to also say that if you're enjoying this educational video that I'm doing based off of this book, The Power of Zero, I want you to click, like, share, and subscribe down below, so that you can get some of my future materials. I'm getting better at this. Yes, I am. I'm getting better at this. And I'm going to be bringing you fun material, sad material, informational material, which requires me to read and educate myself so that I can bring it to you. Again, I would like to say about the state that we're in as people and trusting in the government and these new programs that we've always been taught. 401k, IRA accounts, put your money away. They are failing to tell us that we will be double and triple taxed and we will be penalized when we take that money. Because Uncle Sam wants his portion and he's going to get his portion. Everything short of putting some money under your mattress, we're kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. So, in our book, The Power of Zero, in chapter 5, it basically tells us that there are certain loopholes that do exist that we can kind of protect ourselves or lessen the blow, because there's no way of getting out of taxes, but there is a way to lessen the blow of them taking so much money And there's a way for you to place some of your money in a zero bracket tax bracket. And the higher up executives have been doing it for eons. And it's totally legal. It's just some mathematical maneuvers that you have to go through in order to balance it out and make sure that you are within those guidelines for government. And it may require a tax man or an accountant in order to for you to get these benefits. But the reason why I bring this book to you is because these are things that the higher echelons have been practicing for years and eons, and they've been getting ahead, and we've been falling behind. And basically, some of our older people, we've been eating dog food. What the hell? So, in chapter 5, it discusses a program called Life Insurance Retirement Plan, which is an accumulation tool that shares many of the free tax benefits. It's called LIRP, L-I-R-P. Now, what this LIRP does is it allows you to save money in these tax brackets that are not taxable. So, how can I explain this? When I told you about the mathematical balancing act that you have to do, in some of those other places, you can't have so much money before the government starts double taxing you, because there are certain restrictions that are involved in withdrawing money at certain times. The government has in place that when you're 70 and a half, you have to withdraw $10,000 from your account. At that point, you're automatically taxed the 30%. And then if you don't take it out at that time, and say, for instance, you leave it there saying, oh, I'll just leave it there and collect more interest, they're going to automatically penalize you half that balance. So that's $5,000 plus the penalties. So they're taking more than half of your hard-earned cash as a penalty for not taking it out. So if you take out too much too soon, you'll be penalized. If you take out too little too late, you'll be penalized. You know, this is the perfect time to be talking about this type of thing because of the state of the world is in now. And when I tell you that the taxes are going up, what do you think that this COVID thing is going to do, which is doing to our economy? And it's going up soon. And taxes may double. And the politicians are literally promising things that they can't promise. They promise now, put us in debt, and we pay later. Whether it be us or our children. So, I'm not coming to be so dismal to all of my followers. I just thought that this was something that was very much unseen. And it was time for me to bring it out to you so that you can start doing your investigations and trying to figure out how you're going to circumvent, when you retire, losing so much money. Now, again, people are saying that, oh, when I'm retired, I'm not going to have to pay so much taxes. But when you're working, when you're in your working years, you have the ability to have multiple streams of income, and you can afford to pay these different taxes. When you've retired, you only have one form of income, and you have less money coming in, but you're going to put yourself in a higher tax bracket if you've saved all this money and you can't withdraw it and it's not coming out evenly, or if it's not being teetered the right way to come out. So I want you to educate yourselves on retirement. I want you to pick up a book, especially during this time where we're quarantined to the house. And don't get discouraged. Educate yourself. And try to find new ways to bring in incomes or move your funds around so that you could take advantage of this Power of Zero book. Now, the resources are there, but we have to educate ourselves. We have to educate ourselves and not say, I didn't know. Because by the time we get to retirement, it's really too late. There are things that we could do once we get to retirement. We could live like the Golden Girls, 12 old people to a home. And then what is this COVID thing going to do? I mean, is everybody walking around with COVID and you're afraid who's going to come in your house? People may want to still live the way that they live now. But this information has been brought to you by Soon, which is me. And like I said, this is information that I find to be unseen. In many more episodes to come, we will be uncovering educational items, sad items, fun items, pieces of art. My opinion will always be involved. And so I want you to come back and I want you to visit with Soon, which is myself. And I want you to remember, educate yourself in regards to your retirement. So until next time, you've seen with Soon what's ahead of your future. And as I say, when I always close, on to the next.